Okay, so this is our EGARCH model that we have seen, right? This is the EGARCH model. This is the EGARCH estimation, right? That we have seen. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. We have shifted. Okay, no, sorry, not the EGARCH model. Where is my estimations? Okay, sorry, not this one. Where is the EGARCH model? Just 1 minute. I click somewhere. Okay, so I've done it. Okay, yeah. So it is the EGARCH model that you can see, right? EGARCH model, and here this one is the dependent variable log GARCH, right? The GARCH has been transferred into log, and and this one is the variance equation. The whole thing from here to here actually the variance equation. Okay. Okay, actually this model has two part. As I said, number one part is mean equation, as I said. So, and here you can see, from here you can see this one is the mean equation, the first part of the model, mean equation, right? And here the BSR is the dependent variable. This BSR is the dependent variable, so that is mean equation. And the residual derived from this mean equation has been used in the variance equation. You can see the variance equation, it is here, right? That is variance equation, right? So it is the variance equation, the whole thing. So that means EGARCH model has two parts. One is mean equation and one is variance equation. And that actually the variance equation is here, this one. This one is the variance equation, and here you can see C2 means this one, C3 means this one, C4 means this one, and C5 means this one, right? So there are 4 coefficients to be measured. Number 1 coefficient is C2, C3, C4, C5. Okay, and what is our target? Our target is that to find out the leverage effect. Our target actually is to find out the leverage effect, right? That is our target. And what is called leverage effect? What is called leverage effect? Okay, that we shall discuss now. We shall discuss now what is leverage effect. Okay, but the thing is that when there is a leverage effect is found when you check from here C4, when the coefficient C4 is significant and negative, then we can say that there is a leverage effect, right? Okay, so leverage effect is found when C4 is significant and negative. Then we can say there is a leverage effect. So the thing is that which one is the C4? C4 is here. You can see the coefficient of all these things from here to here. That is C4, right? That is C4, meaning that this one, that is C4. You can see from here. That is C4. And this C4 is the sign is negative. You can see the sign is negative, and also the p-value is very small, meaning that it is also significant. So C4 is having negative sign, and it is also significant, meaning that there is a leverage effect, right? There is a leverage effect. And if there is a leverage effect, what happens? And if there is a leverage effect, then what happens? Okay, then what happens? Okay, so first I talk about what is leverage effect. Okay, what is leverage effect? Okay, so in this model, what is happening? There is a leverage effect. Okay, there is a leverage effect. Okay, what is leverage effect? It means that leverage effect corresponds and actually the leverage effect is a negative correlation between the past return and future volatility of return. So that is the definition of leverage effect, meaning that negative correlation between the past return and future volatility of return. So meaning that, so actually what is this log EGARCH? The log EGARCH actually is called the volatility, right, of return. This log EGARCH is called actually volatility of the return, or this one also called conditional variance, right? So here so there is always a negative correlation between the past return and future volatility of return, and that is called leverage effect. That means when the return goes down, then volatility goes up. Okay. Okay, in other way, leverage effect is a ratio of debt and equity that is stock e equity. Okay, leverage effect is a ratio of debt and equity. Higher the leverage effect, meaning that greater the risk, greater the risk, greater the risk or volatility or variance of a firm. Okay. Okay. Actually, you can see from here, this log GARCH, actually the volatility of the return, right? This log GARCH actually also called the volatility of the Bangladesh stock return. Okay. Okay, then what is happening here? The higher the what is happening here? The higher leverage occurs. The higher leverage occurs. The higher leverage occurs due to negative return. Due to negative return, which negative return, which translates to a low equity prices, right? Which translate to a low equity price or prices, meaning that a higher debt to equity ratio, and that is called leverage. That is called leverage effect. That is called leverage effect. Leverage effect of a firm. Okay, of a firm. Okay. Okay. So here in our case, as the C4 is negative and significant, meaning that there is a leverage effect. Okay, and also what does mean by leverage effect? It has some more explanation. It means that where a positive shock has less effect on the conditional variance, so here our conditional variance, actually this one is the conditional variance. That is the dependent variable, that is called conditional variance. And here, okay, so where a positive shock has less effect on the conditional variance compared to a negative news. Okay, what does mean by compared to a negative shock? Compared to a negative shock, news or shock, and it is known as leverage effect. right? It is known as a leverage effect. And here what is happening here, and here conditional variance is the dependent variable that is log EGARCH, and also which is the variance of the residual, residuals derived from the mean equation, Okay, so we can say other way that what is called leverage effect, when there is a positive shock, has less effect on the conditional variance compared to a negative news or shock. It is known as leverage effect. Okay, then and in other way we can see that, which means that good news or shock, or good news or shock or error, right? Good news, shock, error generates less variance or volatility, less volatile variance than bad news. Okay, than bad news. And what is called bad news here? That is economic condition such as unemployment, and we can call it also inflation, etc., etc. Those are bad news for Bangladesh stock return, that is BSR, right? And here actually what is happening here, okay, which means that I can write from here, which means that good news or shock or error generates less variance or volatility than bad news. Bad news means what? Economic conditions such as unemployment, inflation for Bangladesh stock return. Meaning that when there is a bad news or shock, bad shock or bad information, then volatility of the Bangladesh stock return goes up, right? Goes up. Then good news. So actually that is called leverage effect. And when there is a volatility, and when there is a volatility in return, then especially in BSR, meaning that Bangladesh stock return, then risk of the business goes up. Risk of the business goes up, meaning that investor shift their fund to less risky investment. So that is the leverage effect. And in our model, there is a leverage effect, meaning that bad news can impact on the volatility of Bangladesh stock return than the good news. That means bad news has more impact on the volatility of the Bangladesh bond return than the good news. So our model has a leverage effect.